I thought it was a simulation. So why am I turning into this? The experimental subject. Liam Rhodes rubbed his eyes as the subway train rattled through the underground tunnels of Boston. Another sleepless night followed by an early morning commute. The advertisement on his phone glowed brightly against the dim lighting of the train car. Participants needed for groundbreaking virtual reality study. Compensation: $5,000 for 2 weeks. As a graduate student drowning in student loans, the offer seemed too good to pass up. Besides, Liam had always been fascinated by advanced technology. The Horizon Institute had an impressive reputation for cutting-edge research, though their work remained largely secretive. Perfect timing for someone who needed both money and a distraction from his recently failed relationship. The Horizon Institute stood like a gleaming monolith against the skyline, all curved glass and polished steel. Nothing about the building suggested it housed anything beyond ordinary human innovation. The security guard checked Liam's ID and directed him to the 11th floor, where a woman with striking amber eyes and copper-colored hair waited. "Mr. Rhodes, welcome. I'm Dr. Nadia Petrova, lead researcher for Project Prometheus." Her accent was difficult to place, a blend of Eastern European and something else entirely. She extended her hand, and Liam noticed the unusual smoothness of her skin, almost luminescent under the fluorescent lights. "You can call me Liam," he replied, following her through a series of corridors that required increasingly complex security clearances. "So what exactly will I be testing?" The advertisement mentioned virtual reality, but was pretty vague on details. Dr. Petrova smiled, the expression not quite reaching her eyes. Project Prometheus explores the boundaries of human neurological adaptation to immersive environments. Essentially, we're testing how quickly and effectively the human mind can adapt to radically different simulated conditions. They arrived at a sleek medical examination room, where a team of technicians waited. One stepped forward with a tablet. "We'll need to conduct some baseline tests before proceeding. Standard medical screening, cognitive assessment, reflex testing." The next few hours passed in a blur of medical examinations, blood draws, and cognitive tests. Liam found himself impressed by the thoroughness, and slightly unnerved by the specialized equipment that looked far more advanced than anything he'd seen at his university's research facilities. "Your test results are exceptional," Dr. Petrova remarked, reviewing his file. "Particularly your neuroplasticity markers and cellular regeneration rates." "Is that good?" Liam asked. "Very. You're an ideal candidate for our program." Something in her tone made Liam wonder if there was more to this study than virtual reality games. The technicians led him to a chamber that resembled a medical pod from a science fiction film. Clear polymer formed a shell over a contoured bed lined with sensors. Dr. Petrova explained as they attached electrodes to his temples and wrists. "This is our neural interface system. It creates a direct connection to your central nervous system, allowing for total immersion beyond what conventional VR can achieve. You may experience unusual sensations as your brain adapts to the interface." Liam settled into the pod, excitement mingling with apprehension. How realistic will it feel? Dr. Petrova's amber eyes studied him with scientific interest, indistinguishable from reality. "That's why we need to monitor your adaptation closely. The mind can sometimes resist when it cannot differentiate between simulation and reality." The pod hummed to life, a cool mist filling the chamber. Liam's last conscious thought before darkness claimed him was that Dr. Petrova's eyes seemed to glow from within. When Liam awoke, he found himself in what appeared to be a standard hospital room. A window revealed a view of Boston's skyline, though something about the quality of light seemed subtly wrong. Too perfect, colors too vivid. "The simulation has begun," he murmured to himself, impressed by the detail. He could feel the texture of the sheets, smell the antiseptic scent of the room, hear distant conversations in the hallway with remarkable clarity. A nurse entered, at least someone dressed as a nurse. Liam reminded himself that everything here was simulated, including the people. "Good morning, "Mr. Rhodes, how are you feeling?" The nurse checked his vitals with practiced efficiency. "Fine. Better than fine, actually." Liam was surprised to realize he felt sharper, more alert than he had in years. "When do we start the actual experiment?" The nurse gave him a puzzled look. "Dr. Petrova will be in shortly to explain everything." When she left, Liam explored the room, testing the boundaries of the simulation. He ran his fingers along the wall, feeling minute textures that even the most advanced VR couldn't possibly render. He could hear conversations from rooms away, distinguish individual voices with uncanny precision. "Impressive tech," he whispered, though a creeping sense of unease began to form at the base of his skull. Everything felt too real, his senses too sharp. Dr. Petrova entered carrying a tablet. Today her copper hair was pulled back, revealing the elegant line of her neck and unusual, almost geometric patterns that seemed to trace beneath her skin. A tattoo, perhaps. "How are you adapting, Liam?" she asked, studying him with that same clinical fascination. "The simulation is incredible. I can't detect any rendering delays or texture issues. But something feels off about my perception. Everything's too clear, too vivid." Dr. Petrova made notes on her tablet. "Interesting. Any other sensations? Dreams? Physical changes?" Liam hesitated. "I had strange dreams. Landscapes with purple skies and binary stars. And I can hear conversations from other rooms. Is that part of the simulation?" A subtle shift in Dr. Petrova's expression confirmed Liam's growing suspicion that something wasn't right. She moved closer, examining his eyes with unusual intensity. "Your irises are showing early signs of transformation," she murmured, seemingly to herself. "Accelerated integration, just like Subject 7. Transformation. Integration." Liam repeated, alarm spreading through him. "What exactly did you do to me?" Dr. Petrova stepped back, composing herself. "The Prometheus project isn't precisely what you were told, Liam. The simulation is simply a cover story to help subjects process their initial experiences." "What experiences?" Liam demanded, rising from the bed. As he did, the monitoring equipment began to beep rapidly. "Please remain calm," Dr. Petrova said, though she moved toward the door with cautious steps. "Your body is undergoing changes that we need to monitor carefully." Liam looked down at his arms, noticing for the first time a faint luminescence beneath his skin, pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. Fear and fascination warred within him. "What's happening to me?" he whispered. Dr. Petrova's hand hovered over a security panel by the door. "You've been given a compound designed to test human compatibility with certain non-terrestrial genetic sequences. Your remarkable adaptation rate suggests your ancestry already contained compatible markers." The realization struck Liam with stunning clarity. "This isn't a simulation, and you're not from Earth." Instead of denying it, Dr. Petrova's posture changed subtly, becoming less human in its precision. "No, Liam, I'm not. And soon, neither will you be. At least not entirely." As if triggered by her words, pain suddenly lanced through Liam's body. He doubled over, gasping as every cell seemed to burn from within. Through watering eyes, he saw his skin begin to glow more intensely, patterns forming beneath the surface like living circuitry. The last thing he heard before consciousness fled was Dr. Petrova calling for a containment team, her voice no longer perfectly human but resonating with harmonics impossible for a human vocal apparatus to produce. Liam's transformation had begun, and with it, his understanding of humanity's place in the cosmos would never be the same. Strange awakenings. Consciousness returned to Liam in waves, each bringing sharper awareness and unfamiliar sensations. He lay on the same hospital bed, but the room had changed. Reinforced walls, no windows, and significantly more monitoring equipment surrounding him. The lights had been dimmed, yet he could see with perfect clarity, each object defined in startling detail. A dull ache pulsed throughout his body, centered in his chest, and radiating outward like a star going nova. Liam raised his hands before his face, noting the subtle luminescence that ebbed and flowed beneath his skin, brighter along his veins, forming intricate patterns that reminded him of circuit boards or ancient glyphs. "What have they done to me?" he whispered, his voice sounding strange in his own ears, deeper, with harmonic undertones that hadn't existed before. The door slid open, and Dr. Petrova entered alongside a tall, stern-looking man in a gray suit. Liam immediately sensed something different about both of them. Something not human. His newly enhanced perception detected subtle differences in their movements, the way light reflected off their skin, even their scent. "Subject is conscious and displaying heightened awareness," the man stated, his words forming strange patterns in Liam's mind, as if he could somehow visualize speech. "Genetic integration progress at 37%. Faster than anticipated." Dr. Petrova approached cautiously. "Liam, I understand you must be frightened and confused. What you're experiencing is an accelerated genetic transformation. The compound we administered is reconfiguring your DNA, incorporating elements that enhance human potential." Liam sat up slowly, noting how movements that should have caused pain now felt fluid, natural. "You mean alien DNA? You're changing me into whatever you are." The man in gray frowned. "Dr. Petrova, you've shared unauthorized information with the subject." "Director Valeron, he deserves to understand what's happening to his body," Petrova countered, a flash of defiance crossing her features. She turned back to Liam. "We are Astrians. Our species has been observing Earth for centuries. The Prometheus Project studies human adaptability to Astrian genetic sequences." Liam laughed, a sound tinged with bitterness. "So I'm just a lab rat, testing if humans can become like you." Director Valeron stepped forward. "You're participating in crucial research that could determine the future relationship between our species. Most subjects show minimal integration, slight sensory enhancements, accelerated healing. Your response is unprecedented." A memory surfaced in Liam's mind. Fragments of conversations he'd overheard during his unconscious state. "Subject 7, he murmured. "You mentioned someone else responded like me." Dr. Petrova exchanged a glance with Valeron before answering. Subject 7 showed similar initial integration rates. Her transformation progressed for 3 weeks before destabilizing. "We've modified the compound since then." The unspoken implication hung in the air. Subject 7 hadn't survived. Liam closed his eyes, focusing on the strange sensations coursing through his body. What had once been pain now felt like power, electricity humming beneath his skin, filling him with vitality. When he opened his eyes again, he noticed both Astrians had stepped back, wariness evident in their postures. "Your ocular transformation is accelerating," Dr. Petrova observed, making notes on her tablet. "The sclera are developing Astrian luminescence patterns." Liam stood, surprised by the newfound strength in his limbs. The monitoring equipment began beeping rapidly, registering changes in his vital signs. "I want to see." Dr. Petrova hesitated, then guided him to a polished metal surface that served as a mirror. Liam barely recognized the face staring back at him. His eyes had changed dramatically, the whites now faintly luminescent, irises shifting from their original brown to an iridescent copper, with geometric patterns radiating from the pupils. Beneath his skin, networks of light pulsed with each heartbeat. "Fascinating," he whispered, touching his face. "I should be terrified, but instead I feel awakened." Director Valeron moved toward the door. "Increase security protocols. Inform the Council of the accelerated integration. We need containment measures ready if I become dangerous." Liam finished, turning from his reflection. "Am I dangerous, Director?" Valeron's expression remained impassive. "You're becoming something neither human nor Astrian. Unknown variables are always potentially dangerous." After they left, Liam explored his enhanced senses, pushing their boundaries. He could hear conversations from adjacent laboratories, perceive the electrical currents running through the walls, even sense the distinct energy signatures of people moving throughout the facility. Most were human, Research subjects and staff unaware of their employer's true nature. But scattered among them were Astrians, their energy patterns more complex, layered with frequencies humans couldn't perceive. He discovered he could control the luminescence beneath his skin, dimming or intensifying it with concentration. When fully brightened, the patterns formed coherent symbols that seemed to access something deep in his subconscious. Knowledge he shouldn't possess, but somehow did. Hours later, Dr. Petrova returned alone. She watched from the doorway as Liam manipulated the light patterns on his arm, forming increasingly complex configurations. "You shouldn't be able to do that," she said quietly. "Those are Austrian neuro-linguistic patterns. Our children spend years learning to control them." Liam looked up, noting the concern in her expression. "Why is this happening to me? Why am I different from the other test subjects?" Dr. Petrova entered the room, closing the door behind her. "I've been analyzing your genetic sequence more thoroughly. There are markers in your DNA, ancient fragments that shouldn't exist in modern humans. Somehow, your ancestors already carried traces of non-terrestrial genetic material. You're saying I'm part alien. That's absurd." "Not precisely." She sat on the edge of his bed, her scientific detachment giving way to genuine curiosity. Throughout human history, there have been periods of limited contact with various non-terrestrial species. The Austrians weren't the first to visit Earth. Liam processed this revelation, connecting it to myths and legends throughout human history, gods and beings with extraordinary abilities visiting from the heavens. "Why tell me this? Won't your director Valeron disapprove?" A shadow crossed Dr. Petrova's face. "Director Valeron reports to the Austrian High Council. They're concerned about your rapid development. There are protocols for test subjects who exceed integration parameters." "Termination protocols," Liam guessed, reading the confirmation in her eyes. "Like Subject 7. "I disagree with their approach," Dr. Petrova said, lowering her voice. "What's happening to you represents something remarkable, perhaps even the next stage of human evolution, catalyzed by Austrian genetics. It shouldn't be feared or destroyed, but studied and understood." Liam noticed something he hadn't before. Beneath Dr. Petrova's clinical interest lay something more personal, a connection she herself might not fully acknowledge. "Why do you care what happens to me? I'm just another experiment to you." Dr. Petrova's gaze dropped to her hands. "My research has always been driven by a belief that Austrians and humans could someday coexist. The Council sees Earth as a resource to be studied and potentially harvested. I see potential for symbiosis, mutual evolution." She looked up, meeting his transformed eyes. "What's happening to you might be proof that I'm right." A sudden pain lanced through Liam's head, bringing with it a flood of images and sensations, star systems he'd never seen, languages he'd never heard yet somehow understood, and most disturbingly, flashes of what appeared to be memories from Dr. Petrova's perspective. "The neural connection is strengthening," she observed, watching him intently. "You're developing telepathic sensitivity far earlier than anticipated." Liam focused, trying to make sense of the chaotic information flooding his consciousness. "I can see decisions being made. The Council has ordered something. Tomorrow there." He broke off, the implications becoming clear. "They're sending a specialized team to terminate me, aren't they?" Dr. Petrova didn't deny it. Instead, she stood, decision crystallizing in her expression. "We have until morning. If you stay, they'll destroy you and everything we could learn about this new evolutionary path. And if I don't stay, then we both become fugitives," she replied simply. "I can help you understand what you're becoming, and you can help prove my theories about human-Austrian compatibility." Liam studied her, his enhanced perception detecting her genuine concern beneath layers of scientific curiosity and professional risk assessment. "Why would you sacrifice your position, your research, for me?" Dr. Petrova's amber eyes met his transformed ones. "Because some discoveries are worth risking everything for." She extended her hand. "The choice is yours, Liam. Stay and face termination, or leave with me and discover what you're truly becoming." Liam looked down at his transformed skin, pulsing with alien light and power, then back at the Astrian scientist offering him escape. Whatever he had been before entering the Horizon Institute was gone forever. The only path now led forward, into the unknown. He took her hand. "When do we leave?" Truth unveiled. Dawn had not yet broken when Dr. Petrova returned to Liam's chamber, moving with the silent efficiency characteristic of her species. She carried a small case and what appeared to be standard medical scrubs. "Put these on," she instructed, handing Liam the clothing. "They'll help mask your bioenergetic signature from security systems. The compound in the fabric temporarily dampens Astrian luminescence patterns." Liam changed quickly, noting how the special fabric immediately dimmed the glow beneath his skin. "How exactly are we getting out of a facility that I assume has security measures specifically designed to prevent test subjects from escaping?" Dr. Petrova's lips curved in a slight smile. "I designed most of those security measures. More importantly, I've been modifying them for months to create contingencies." She opened the case, revealing an assortment of small devices and vials. "I've suspected for some time that the Council's approach to human research was fundamentally flawed. Your transformation merely accelerated my timeline." She injected him with a clear solution that cooled the burning sensation in his veins. "This will temporarily stabilize your cellular changes. The transformation isn't stopping, but this should prevent any sudden manifestations while we're escaping." Liam winced slightly at the needle. "You've been planning this for a while, haven't you? Was I just convenient or specifically selected?" Dr. Petrova paused, considering her answer carefully. "Your genetic profile was flagged in our preliminary screening. I suspected you might show enhanced compatibility, though nothing near this level of integration." She met his eyes directly. "But yes, I've been waiting for a subject who could demonstrate the true potential of human Astrian synthesis." She guided him to the door, pressing the small device against the electronic lock. The security panel blinked from red to green. "We have approximately 17 minutes before the system cycles through its next verification protocol." The corridors of the Horizon Institute were dimly lit during the night cycle, with minimal staff present. Those they did encounter, mostly human technicians and security personnel, nodded respectfully to Dr. Petrova, assuming Liam was simply another researcher or medical professional. As they passed various laboratories, Liam's enhanced vision allowed him to see through observation windows into rooms where other test subjects slept, monitored by equipment similar to what had been used on him. "How many people are you experimenting on?" "Currently, 43 subjects across various trial phases," Dr. Petrova replied, her tone matter-of-fact. "Most show minimal integration, slightly enhanced senses, accelerated healing, increased cognitive processing. None have progressed beyond Phase 2 integration. Except me," Liam added. "You've surpassed Phase 4 in less than 72 hours. The Astrian Council has no classification for what you're becoming." They reached a secured elevator that required both retinal and palm authentication. Dr. Petrova placed her hand on the scanner, then carefully positioned a small device over the eye recognition unit. "That won't work," said a deep voice behind them. "Not anymore." They turned to find Director Valeron flanked by 2 security officers, humans, but with the slightly too perfect posture that suggested Astrian neural implants. The director's expression remained calm, but Liam could sense waves of cold fury emanating from him like a tangible force. "The Council accelerated the containment timeline," Valeron stated. "They're aware of your unauthorized modifications to security protocols. Dr. Petrova, your access has been revoked." Dr. Petrova straightened, dropping all pretense of compliance. "The Council is making a mistake. This subject represents a breakthrough in xenogenetic research. Terminating him destroys decades of potential progress. The Council determined the risks outweigh potential benefits." Valeron gestured to the guards. "Restrain them both. The subject for immediate termination, Dr. Petrova for disciplinary review." As the guards advanced, something shifted in Liam's perception. Time seemed to slow, his awareness expanding beyond normal parameters. He could visualize the electrical impulses traveling through the guard's neural implants, could see the complex energy field surrounding Director Valoran that marked him as different from humans. Without conscious thought, Liam extended his hand. The luminescence beneath his skin intensified, forming complex patterns that matched the frequency of the guard's neural implants. Both men froze mid-step, expressions going blank. Before he could activate the sphere, Dr. Petrova lunged forward with inhuman speed, knocking it from his hand. "Run," she shouted to Liam. Sublevel 3, Section E, the emergency exit. Liam hesitated, unwilling to leave her facing Valoran alone, but the director had already recovered, grappling with Petrova with strength far beyond human capability. As they fought, the air around them distorted with energy fields visible only to Liam's enhanced vision. Australian defensive technologies embedded in their very cells. Making a split-second decision, Liam focused on the fallen sphere, instinctively reaching out with his mind to interface with its technology. The device vibrated, then emitted a high-pitched whine as its circuitry overloaded. It detonated in a flash of blue-white energy that momentarily blinded everyone in the corridor. Using the distraction, Liam grabbed Dr. Petrova's arm and pulled her toward the stairwell she had indicated. They descended rapidly, Liam moving with newfound agility that matched her own. Behind them, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. "What was that device?" Liam asked as they reached sublevel 2. "Neural disruptor," Dr. Petrova replied, her breathing controlled despite their pace. "Designed to sever the connection between Australian genetic material and human nervous systems. It would have collapsed your neural pathways instantly." They reached sublevel 3, Section E, a research area filled with equipment Liam didn't recognize. Dr. Petrova moved to a wall panel, removing it to reveal an emergency evacuation tunnel. "This leads to a maintenance exit half a kilometer from the main facility." As she worked to open the tunnel entrance, Liam felt a strange pressure building in his mind. Information flooding his consciousness faster than he could process. Images, technical specifications, star charts, languages, knowledge he had never learned yet somehow possessed. He staggered, bracing himself against a laboratory table. "Liam, what's happening?" Dr. Petrova was at his side immediately, concern evident in her voice. "Information. Too much." He gasped as another wave hit him, bringing with it memories that weren't his own. Some belonging to Dr. Petrova, others far older alien perspectives spanning centuries. When he looked up, he knew his eyes had changed further, the transformation accelerating despite the stabilizing compound. "The genetic integration is triggering access to racial memory," Dr. Petrova explained, examining his eyes with scientific precision. "Despite their dire circumstances, Australians possess a form of genetic memory, knowledge encoded directly into our DNA, passed from generation to generation." "But I'm not Australian," Liam gritted through clenched teeth. "No, you're something new." Dr. Petrova helped him toward the tunnel entrance. The compound was designed to incorporate beneficial Australian traits into human physiology. In your case, it's done far more. It's unlocked something latent in your genetic structure, something that's reacting to Australian DNA in ways we never anticipated. As they entered the tunnel, emergency lighting activated automatically, illuminating their path. Liam's mind gradually cleared, the flood of information settling into accessible patterns rather than overwhelming chaos. "I can see your homeworld," he said quietly as they moved through the tunnel. Binary suns, crystal cities built into mountain ranges, a civilization thousands of years more advanced than Earth's. Dr. Petrova nodded, her expression a mixture of scientific fascination and personal regret. "Australia, 16 light-years from your solar system. We've been observing Earth for millennia, periodically testing human compatibility with our genetic material." "Why?" Liam asked, though parts of the answer were already forming in his mind from the fragments of memory he'd accessed. "Survival. Dr. Petrova's voice softened. Astraea is dying. Its magnetic field destabilizing. Radiation from our binary stars gradually making the planet uninhabitable. We've colonized other worlds, but none with the unique conditions that would allow our species to truly thrive. Dr. Petrova hesitated before answering. The Council has been divided for centuries on how to approach Earth. Some advocate peaceful integration, a gradual sharing of knowledge and technology. Others view humans as primitive beings occupying a world that could save our species. And which side are you on? Liam asked, studying her with his transformed eyes. I believed controlled integration was possible, beneficial to both species. She met his gaze unflinchingly. What's happening to you suggests something more profound. Not Astraean dominance over humans, but true synthesis, a new species incorporating the strengths of both. Liam felt another shift in his perception, awareness expanding further. He could sense energy signatures approaching, Astraean security forces tracking them from the facility. They're coming. Multiple pursuers, using some kind of energy detection technology. Dr. Petrova looked alarmed. You shouldn't be able to sense that. Those are quantum displacement trackers, operating on frequencies beyond even Astraean perception. I can see the quantum fields, Liam said, surprised by his own understanding. The patterns they create in reality's fabric. He pointed toward a parking area. We need that vehicle. They moved quickly to an unmarked black SUV. Dr. Petrova placed her hand on the door lock, using Astraean technology to override the security system. As they entered the vehicle, Liam placed his own hand on the dashboard, connecting instantly with the computer systems. The engine started without keys. How did you do that? Dr. Petrova asked as they accelerated away from the facility. Liam stared at his hands, where the luminescent patterns had formed new configurations. I don't know. It's like the knowledge was always there, just waiting to be accessed. He looked at her. What am I becoming, Nadia? It was the first time he used her given name, and the significance wasn't lost on either of them. Something had shifted between them, from researcher and subject to allies in a situation neither fully understood. I don't know, she admitted, but I intend to find out. Whatever it is, it changes everything, for humans, for Astraeans, and for the future of both our worlds. As they drove away from Boston, Liam felt the transformation continuing within him, cells reconfiguring, consciousness expanding. He had entered the Horizon Institute as a human seeking easy money from what he thought was a simulation experiment. He was leaving as something else entirely, something that had never existed before in the cosmos. And somehow, he knew this was only the beginning.